All right. Let's see if this is working. Usually takes a couple minutes to buffer, so it's just gonna take me a second. Waiting for this thing to buffer. It says the internet can totally see you now. Am I on? Am I on? Is there audio? Are we good? Am I on? There's a lag between this. Hey, what is up, you guys? What is up? I'm going to wait a couple minutes to start before, getting into this because I'm sure people are still joining. Some of you may be coming from Sawyer's live stream, which literally just ended like a second ago. And yeah, here we are today. We are having a fun little Sunday live stream. Wow, come on, tell me there's audio, please. Is there audio? Is there audio? I swear, if I mess this up again, I'm gonna be so upset. Okay, good. We are good on audio. So you guys, it's a nice Sunday afternoon. You may be wondering why I haven't had a video up for like the past 6 days since the last live stream last year. Well, it's because pretty much I came home and I've just been really sick in bed kind of all week. Kind of getting my energy back. It seems like every time I come back from a trip, I just kind of get sick. Luckily, my body waits till I come home. But yeah, I've just been pretty much sick all week. And I'm actually leaving tomorrow for a special little trip. I'm going to be gone for a week. But you guys will see the vlogs coming later this week. But today is... I wrote down a whole bunch of things. Today I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks for travel because we all want to travel. We all want to know what to do, what not to do, and yeah. Let me read a couple of these comments first. I put on slow mode so that I can try and read these. So you might notice that you can't comment, like you can't spam. Like you can comment once every 30 seconds. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to read these comments so I could do that. So I'm going to go through some points, read your comments, go through some points, and we're going to have a fun Sunday afternoon here. Hey, what is up, Brian? What's up, Wolf Girl? What's up, Jaja, Abel, Savannah? How are you guys doing today? All right. So, yeah, I'm not wearing black today, as some of you may notice. But we got some stuff to go over. There's a lot here, so I want to be able to cover this within the 45 minutes, hopefully less than an hour, because there's a lot that it might be obvious for you. It might be like, oh yeah, obviously don't do that. But some people might not know because some people may have never been on a trip. And there's actually a lot of stuff on here that it took experience for me to learn. So it took my experience for you to not make the mistake that I made at one point. I love whoever keeps commenting play Club Penguin. I love that comment. It's so funny. It's great. Okay. But anyway, because a lot of what I do is exploring new countries, new places, that's what today is about. Today is about exploring new places and traveling. So, my first one, planning. Deciding where you want to go, because that's really where you need to start off. Now, when I first started traveling last year, going to Thailand, I was on a budget. So that's the first point here, is figure out what your budget is. When you first start especially, there's a budget you need. It's like food, buses, ferries, airfare, clothing, laundry, and then miscellaneous. So you need to figure out what your budget is and how much you're willing to spend on a trip. Hey, thank you, Angie Robbins. What camera phone do you recommend? Camera phone? I hear the new iPhone is a really good camera phone. I have the Samsung S7 Edge, which I think takes pretty good pictures, but I think the iPhone takes pretty good pictures. At least the new one, so I've been told. Also, when planning, you need to decide what your interests are, what kind of things you want to see. Like, do you want to see Asian culture, American stuff, European? That really comes into play when you're looking for places to go. When you are searching for flights and you're checking for flights, you want to be seeing how much it's going to cost you, when it is, when's the best time to go, time of the year. And also, I recommend when you're searching for flights, use a private browser because it will save your cookies and it might make your plane costs go up. So every time use a private browser or clear your history or something so that the airline companies do not save your data and charge you more for the same flight. Now this is one little trick that I also do. Um, when I'm going to a new place, I'm pretty much the planner of the exploring crew. So when I go to a place, I always make a Google Maps. Now, a Google Maps I'll make of things I want to see, places I really want to go. So, for example, we have my iPad right here. This is the map I just made of the Philippines. You can see that there are a bunch of little points on this map, and when you click on them, it will tell you what it is, and you'll be able to... I put some pictures in some of them, so it'll give you a general idea of the things that you want to do, the things that you want to see, and I just like to make them for every place I go so I know what I want to do so we're not missing anything. That is one thing that I could really not stress enough is knowing things that you want to do, but still being able to go off the beaten path. Let's see. Also, one thing that you might slip by your thought process is getting shots. Now, I got a bunch of shots a couple years ago, and some of the shots are a lifetime or many years. Like I know when you go to Thailand, you need like some kind of typhoid or hepatitis or some kind of shots that last you for a long time. So I got those a while ago. So put that into your budget as well, because I know a lot of people get sick or ill when they're traveling, and it's because of lack of shots or just stuff in the bacteria in the water or food. And if you're in America, I don't know anywhere else, but they could cost a lot, so you need to put it into your budget because my shots I think were like $200 or something like that. All right, so there's so much stuff here. I hope I'm not missing anything. What is up, Lara? What's up, Olivia? Vergie, Cat Freak, Shannon. Cody, have a meetup in Manila. We're thinking of having a meetup in Manila, actually, so there will be one in the coming months. But, another thing that I cannot stress enough if you're trying to go places, I recommend either getting a pocket Wi-Fi or knowing where there are internet cafes or places where there's internet when you travel to places that may not have lots of good internet. Mostly like anywhere it's like a third world country. Sometimes there's not a lot of internet. It really depends on where you're going. I personally have switched to T-Mobile just because it has a really good plan for traveling the world. You don't have to call them or anything like that. And I have 4G in many places that people don't have internet. It kind of sucks in the U.S. I'm not going to lie, it's not the best in the U.S., but there's Wi-Fi everywhere, so I'm always connected to Wi-Fi here anyway. Another way to do that is if you go to a country, when you first get off the plane, you can go in the airport, and usually they have a SIM card that you can put in your phone. And these SIM cards will allow you to have internet or data wherever you are for however much you buy it for. Because there's been so many times where we've been lost and we needed Google Maps to help us out. Like this one time we were lost in the woods in a jungle in Thailand, and we had Google Maps show us how to get out. So, luckily I've never gotten too sick, Olivia, while on a trip. Nothing that lasted more than a day. Sometimes you can get food poisoning, but for me that usually lasted like a day or so. It was nothing too crazy. Yeah, luckily I seem to get sick whenever I come home. I don't know. Guardian Angel of the Sky. This will be uploaded. This stream will be uploaded after it's done. Every time I stream, it gets uploaded within the next hour or so. Alright. What is my time elapsed? Okay. How do you cope with traveling alone, Abby says. That's a good question. I've only traveled alone for about 3 weeks at a time, but when I did, I had a lot of fun because I could really decide where I wanted to go, what I wanted to see. The thing is, it's a little more expensive because you're not splitting costs, but I would recommend staying at a hostel where you meet people pretty quickly, and then you can travel with them if you want. But also staying in places that are close to a grocery store, which I'll also get to in a minute, because you can buy food and cut down on costs. Let's see. The big thing is a budget, especially when I first started and I had very, very tight money. You want to make an estimate about how much you're going to spend based on how long you're there. So I keep using Thailand for an example because I really planned that one out since I had very little money when I did that. I budgeted about $3,000 for 30 days, and that was including a plane ticket, food, food, clothing, laundry, buses, and ferries. I kind of like looked into all that first and to get an idea how much it would cost. So I would definitely do that, but also you want to put miscellaneous. Take your total cost of your budget and then take 15% of that, and that's miscellaneous things that you don't know that are going to happen, and add that on. Because you do not want to end up with no money at the end of the trip like I did. When I came back from Thailand, I looked in my account and it said $20, but it said $20 in parentheses. So I was like, sick, I have $20. But I later found out that $20 in parentheses on your bank account means you have negative $20. So I had to borrow like $21 real quick in order to put it back so I didn't get overdraft fees. So that is something you do not want to have, is no money when you come back, so you want to really plan ahead, especially in the start. Cat freak, do you have a pet? Yes, I do have a pet. I have a cat. She is somewhere around here. Do you rent a car on trips? Depending on where I'm going, I'll rent a car. Hawaii I did, and Iceland I did, and they're pretty expensive. Well, those are just really expensive countries. But depending on where you go, you can split it with people, so it won't cost very much. But when I go to Southeast Asia, I don't rent. I just take taxis or tuk-tuks. They're usually pretty cheap. Also, as someone was talking about before, traveling alone versus traveling with people. When you travel with friends, it cuts down costs because you can cut down the cost of taxis. They split that in half. You can possibly buy food. Also, going to grocery stores to buy food will immensely cut down the cost instead of eating out every meal. And it's also safer to travel with someone, but you don't have to. This is something that happens pretty much every time I go somewhere, because Josh doesn't do this. But oh, thank you, Schultz. Hi, Cody. I love your vlogs, abandoned videos. Check out my Instagram, Mark_Schultz, Urbex, and abandoned from Australia. I will check that out. Thank you. Yes. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Josh doesn't do this, but this is something you really need to do, especially when you're traveling to another country, is to call and tell your bank that you are going to another country and you're going to be spending money there with a card if you are planning on using a card. Because many times, about a day or so in, your bank will shut off your card thinking someone stole your card, and then you won't have any money and you'll have to call them and hopefully get a card or have your card activated in the next couple of days. When you're in Bali, this happened to Christian. I think it happened to Sawyer as well. And luckily I had a card, so we were able to still get along and go places. But if no one had a card, we'd really be in trouble. That's another thing you might want to carry cash sometimes. I carry cash in multiple places when traveling to different countries. Whether it's like a safe country or a not-so-safe country, you could get pickpocketed sometimes, or depending on whatever kind of scams there are. So I carry cash in one pocket. I carry it in a backpack. And sometimes, I don't do this too often, but I really should when I go to more countries, you can keep money in your shoe, in your sock, because people will pickpocket that stuff pretty quickly. Smorhor. From all the new stuff you've been seeing around, such as Middle Eastern terrorists and such, does it make you nervous visiting certain places? Love your vlogs, by the way. Thank you. And yeah, there are some places I would really, I'm not going to mention any because I don't know the specific details on countries right now that I haven't looked up. But there's certain places over in the Middle East that I actually have wanted to go to because there's some amazing abandoned places. But then I looked into them, and it's really not a good time to go right now. So I put some of those countries on hold. You just have to kind of really be smart, especially when you're a tourist. When do you schedule? Shannon Pope says, when do you schedule for a flight and you go to the airport? Did you ever have a flight canceled? Um, so unlike me, you guys should schedule your flights a couple weeks in advance. Usually, a couple weeks to a couple months in advance, you get the best prices. There's certain websites I use. Like I buy all my plane tickets from Kayak.com, and there's, in the top like left corner, it just says what their confidence level is for buying, and you can set up an alert where it will send you an email if there's like a lower price, so you can wait on it. I do that sometimes, but unfortunately, recently Josh or Sawyer or someone will just call me and say, "Hey, let's go to this place in a week or 2 days," and usually I buy a ticket like the day before. Not the best idea, but also I buy flight insurance. I think it's like $20 to $25 usually. Flight insurance in case you cancel it. Derek Schaefer, thank you. I told this to Sawyer to come to Louisville, Kentucky. I have free extra room. Yes, when I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, I will hit you up, Derek. Thank you. All right. Also, I'm going to get more into the airline in a second. When you're going on a flight, you always, always, always want to be early. Flight, ferry, or bus. I know Josh and I have been pretty close. We've been the last people a couple times going to flights now because we underestimate how long it's going to take going through airport security, especially when you're in a different country. So I would definitely go early, especially me with like drones and all these batteries that I have. They always stop me nowadays. So we're pretty slow. Let's see. This is a tip actually that I use a lot, and it's worked pretty much every time I've done it. If you're flying somewhere that's kind of a long flight, usually they will have 3 rows of seats, and when you go up to check your bag, if you ask for your seat to be the fire escape, usually they will have it available because they save those seats for last to book because you have to read a brochure kind of to know the safety rules about being at the fire escape. But you get so much legroom. I think I put this in a couple of videos. We always ask for the fire escape room because you have so much legroom and you're on like a 16-hour flight and you can just stretch the whole time and it's the best feeling. And usually they save them for last to book out. So that is a pretty big tip that I love. Another thing is to check out, if you're going to a different country, check out the currency online first, because it's really 50-50 whether you're going to get a good exchange for your money at the airport. Sometimes it's the best exchange, sometimes it's not so good. So I would check it online and compare it to whatever it is when you get there. Also buy or exchange your money once you get to the destination, not at the flight before you go. Exploring with Kurt. Loved your Denby Asylum video. Been there many times. Hope you visit the UK again soon. Check out my Instagram, Exploring with Kurt. All right. Thank you very much, Kurt. I will check that out. 1111 Mr. King. Have you ever gotten really lost before? This comes back to the thing. I have gotten really lost before many times. Usually, luckily I'm with a local sometimes. Other times, one of us will have service on a phone, so we'll use a map to get out. But yeah, it's usually we're getting lost as the sun is going down and it gets harder to see. Always. Let's see. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm not really good with planning these things, but I always recommend packing lighter than you expect because most of the time you're gonna be carrying way too much and it's not gonna fit, and you won't even end up wearing half the clothes that you pack anyway. Every time I packed way too much. Still learning. Damaris, I don't know exactly where in Hawaii. Have only been to the Big Island, so that's all I know. Um, I love the Big Island. I would say stay on the Kona side if you want to go to Hawaii, the Big Island, because the Kona side is always sunny and the Hilo side always seems to be raining, like we found out in our videos. Paige, what do you advise is the best place to travel to? Now, it really depends on your budget. I don't know a best place. A great beginner place that I personally took from other people online is go to Thailand or some kind of Southeast Asian country because it will be cheaper and they have, and especially in Thailand, the places I went have become pretty easy to get around and touristy, and they know English even though you're in Thailand just because there's so many tourists these days. But it's not a bad thing. It definitely helps you out. But if you're not a beginner, really whatever your interests are. Gladys Campos, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos and loving my channel. Alright, we are moving along faster than I thought. This is great. Cassidy, have you ever been to Iceland? I have been to Iceland for 20 days this past year, actually. I have some great Iceland videos and some really good Iceland drone footage if you want to check it out on my channel. I highly recommend it. It was probably one of my best trips. Thank you, Jose Sanchez. Thank you. Alright. Once you are there, I kind of divided this into like 3 different spots. I tried to plan it. I'm pretty rough. But once you're there, ask locals what's best to see, or ask the tourism guide as soon as you get to the airport. This is what Josh and I did as soon as we got to Taiwan. We had a 20-hour layover in Taiwan, in Taipei, so we went straight to the tourism board guy at the airport, and we asked him, what should we do here? We got 20 hours. And a lot of times the locals will know what's best. You can read stuff online, but the locals will always know what's the best thing to see. Especially for us, we like to go to the places that are very picturesque for the best pictures, and usually they know where that is. So I always make a map and plan ahead, but if the locals say something is better, I'm pretty much going to go with whatever the local says. A lot of these are for Southeast Asia. If you're traveling somewhere where they don't use meters, actually in Mexico, someplace they don't too. If you're traveling somewhere where they don't use meters on taxis or tuk-tuks, you can usually negotiate the price to 1/2 or 1/3 of the price, and it's really typical. They always ask you to charge more, and you can always negotiate down. This goes for food and some items as well, and really it's a good way to save money when you're traveling, especially in Southeast Asia. We barter with everyone, and it's typical. I mean, they raise the price for us, so it's not like you're lowering what they usually make, so you want to barter if you're trying to save money. I know Christian is... Oh, Brian Jovel, thank you very much. I know Christian is probably the best negotiator when it comes to Southeast Asia because he's been there so many times. So when we went to Bali with Christian, he was the one who was always negotiating for the taxi rides, and he was so hardcore with them. It'd be like a matter of like $1 we'd be spending, and he'd be like, all right, guys, we're walking away. And we walk away, and then the taxi driver's like, oh, okay, fine, fine. But when you're there, it's just like you save as much money as you can. Tina Hans, this is a good question. Cody, when are you leaving to join the rest of the exploring crew? I'm going to be leaving in about roughly 2 weeks to be meeting up with the exploring crew. 2 to 2.5, around there. I'm going to make an Exploring Crew Asia trailer, I think, tonight or tomorrow. So I'll make that for either YouTube or Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's Cody Buffington, or you can look up Exploring with Cody. And yeah, I think I'm going to make a cool trailer for the Exploring Crew reunion. Because this is the first time that we're all going to be together since last summer's trip, which ended in the middle of August. I haven't seen Steve in forever. It's crazy. Alright, where were we? One thing that I always try and do is try to learn a few words of the language that you're going to, such as please and thank you, because they really appreciate that, and they're a lot nicer when you're willing to learn a few phrases in their language. Oh god, I feel like I'm gonna butcher this. Vlagoin. Thank you very much. If you ever come to Norway, contact me if you want a place to stay and transport. Thank you so much. I'm totally gonna butcher how that is, but thank you, Vlagoin. Thank you. Taryn, travel insurance. I personally never buy it. I would recommend buying it, but I personally have never bought travel insurance. It could be helpful sometimes. I just have never done it. Ethan goes, Cody, how do you save money for travel? Right now, YouTube is my full-time job, so YouTube videos that I put out are kind of how I get paid. But before that, it was just doing jobs. You know, I would stay at home, cut my costs down, stop going to Starbucks, stop going to Dunkin' Donuts and eating out all the time, just working my job where I was working at a gas station. So anything you can do to save a couple bucks, put it in a jar that you can't touch, that also helps a lot. But right now, YouTube is my full-time job, so I just make YouTube videos, and I'm lucky enough to travel because of that. Always be willing to try something new and adventurous. This goes back to seeing what the locals do. A lot of times you'll meet local kids or people, and they'll be like, hey, do you want to come do this? And many times it's the best thing you'll ever do. But that's also not to be, you want to be smart. You don't want to buy into the tourist scams where they're like, hey, come do this thing. For you, special price, I'll make it this amount. It's usually not a special price just for you. So be wary of that as well. I feel like some of these you guys already know, but for those who don't, I'm trying to make a travel guide. I'm trying to be Christian with these travel guides. This is something that I learned pretty early on. When I wanted to do travel, I would go out and I would take pictures of all these sceneries, and I'd have all these great scenery pictures. But then when I look back in about a year or so later, I would notice that I wasn't in any of the pictures, so I didn't really remember it that well. So I always recommend, if you can, take the picture of the location, but then ask someone to take a picture of you in this location, because the memory of how you felt at this very time is what you want to look back on. You can look back on all these pictures of places you've been. You can also Google search that place. You want to see yourself there. So I always recommend just taking one quick picture of yourself there, and that's what I like to do. Brian Jovel, thank you very much. I love your videos and your pictures are awesome. If you can give me some feedback on my pictures, I'd appreciate them. My Instagram is theking_jojo. Thank you very much, Brian. I will check that out. I'm screenshotting these all right now so I can see them later. We're almost done with my travel tips, and then I can answer a lot more questions. I mentioned this before. Always try and set a travel limit or budget so that you don't come home with no money, or you're not able to get home because you have no money. So make sure you always have enough to get back home or wherever you're trying to go. One other thing, when you're traveling to countries such as Japan and the Philippines and many other countries like I'm going to, they want you to have a two-way ticket or show proof that you are going to leave the country at some time, because they don't want you staying there forever. So I think Japan is like either 30 days or 3 months that you can stay there with a typical travel visa. And you have to show a ticket, return ticket, to go back home or to go somewhere else. Now, if you're like me and you don't know when you're going to leave, you should buy a ticket, but buy full travel insurance on it so that you're able to change the date whenever you want. That's what I do. I'll buy a ticket, and even if I'm not planning on leaving that day, I'll just buy travel insurance so that I'm able to change it when I want. That's what I have to do for Japan. That's what I have to do for the Philippines, because they want you to leave soon, and I don't know exactly the dates because we're so up in the air. All right. If you aren't taking many pictures or you aren't vlogging like I am, I highly recommend writing down your adventures and the different things that you do so that you can look back on it. I know my first trip was in high school when I went to Italy, and I was taking pictures, but my friend was just writing everything down that he has. And now it's like, it's been 8 years since I went on that trip, something like that. And I've actually gone to my friend and I've read through this travel thing just because I wanted to know what happened, what we did, because you forget about these things. And if you're not vlogging it every day like I am, it's easy to forget all these things. So I highly recommend writing it down or just taking tons and tons of pictures and videos. And my last thing, baggage can get lost very easily. I highly recommend buying some kind of GPS thing. I just bought this thing called Tile. I think there's a bunch of other ones, but this one specifically is called Tile. You just put it in your thing, and it has a GPS, because a lot of times, especially with expensive camera gear, things go missing, and a lot of times bags go missing, but with it, you can just go and check your GPS. So check out any kind of travel GPS tracker. I would highly recommend. But that's for my travel tips. Got through that quicker than I expected. What questions do you have? Did someone ever steal your equipment from you on your trips, like money or equipment? Erica, I've been lucky enough that I have not had that happen yet. I have had many friends who we have taken a bus from somewhere in a country, and your luggage will go underneath, and then people will actually go through, like I think it's the bus drivers or people working on the bus, who will go through your luggage and take things. So I highly recommend, when you're also traveling, getting locks to put on things. I don't think you can have your locks on when you go through the airport, but afterwards you can lock up all your bags so people can't go rummaging through them. Can you show the Tile? I don't have it yet. I actually just ordered it yesterday. I ordered 4 of them, but this is just a charger. It's roughly this size, a little skinnier, and it'll fit on your keys. It'll fit in your wallet or anything like that. I'm gonna put them in my camera bag, my travel backpack or suitcase. I'm gonna put it in anything else really, like my wallet, and hopefully I'll be able to never lose something. All right. Cassidy Holridge, play Club Penguin. One of these days I'm gonna play it. What is it called, the GPS thing? It's called Tile, T-I-L-E. That's the one that I bought. I think there's a couple others, but I just happen to know of that brand because I think Sawyer has one, so he showed me. This is a good question. Matt Young, have you ever had to bribe someone while it's traveling? Yes, I have. I don't know if that's legal to say in America, but bribing is pretty popular in other countries, and I have had to do that many times to get where I want to go. I do speak some Spanish, not very well, enough to get me around in Mexico and maybe Spain. What drones do you recommend if you use one? I have the Phantom 4. I love that drone. The Phantom 4 Pro actually just came out. If my drone ever goes down, that's probably the one that I'm going to upgrade to. Also, the Mavic is a cheaper version. That's the one Josh and Steve have. It's like this big. It's really good for space. It's not as good as quality. So me personally, I like the quality better, even though it's cost a little bit more and it's a little bit bigger. So I use the Phantom 4. Josh uses the Mavic, and it's really small, and you can just fit it in like his backpack. I am allergic to nuts, Emily. Wait, was that Emily? It went so fast. Yes, I am. If that wasn't Emily, I'm sorry, but I am allergic to nuts. Ben, thank you very much. Ben O. What camera should I buy if I have $750 for 2-in-1 photo video? I think any of the Canon Rebel TI series, whatever they're up to now, is probably a good bet. That's what I started with, and that's what I would recommend for around that price range. Let's see. What places are on your bucket list? I have a lot of places. One of them is Morocco. Another is Egypt, South Africa, Cape Town. There's a lot of places that I really want to go to that are on my list. I've got a huge map, but yeah. Kyle Drinkwater, what is your current photography camera? My current photography camera is this Canon 5D Mark III. Great camera. I love Canon. I may be doing a different camera soon, though. Keep a lookout. I may be getting another camera soon. Will you come to Detroit? Of course. There's a ton of abandoned places there. I'm definitely going to come to Detroit. What's the most scariest place you've ever traveled to? That's a tough one. The scariest place I've ever traveled to? Oh, probably. No, I'm not saying all of Mexico is scary, but there was some scary places in Mexico, near Mexico City that I went to. That would probably be the scariest. But I love Mexico. Josh and I want to go back pretty soon. What's your favorite lens to use? I love any 16 to 35 lens because it's great for landscape. It's also great for vlogging, and it just shows a nice wide angle. It also has a little bit of zoom. It goes into 35 millimeters, so you can get a little bit closer, but any 16 to 35 millimeter lens is my favorite, a wide angle. My favorite color is blue, by the way. Luke Munn, it's very hard to say my favorite country, but I'd say one of the most beautiful places have been Hawaii and Iceland. They're like the same thing, but one's cold and one's warm. Oh, this is a good question. Daniel, Steadicam or 3-axis gimbal? Why? Now, I actually don't use any right now just because they are such a pain in the butt to travel with. My friend Rob Stroke, he carries around a Ronin, which is a 3-axis stabilizer. It's like an electronic one, and he can either hold it like this or like from above, and it's a computer, so you don't have to do a lot of work. It takes a lot of setup and a little bit of skill, but it just is so much to carry around that I don't carry it. Sawyer, I think he was just talking about this, uses a glide cam, and that also takes some skill and setup, and it's also just so big. That's why I don't carry one. So personally, I would rather just do a very slow shot with a little warp stabilizer, or just not have it because it is so much to deal with when you're traveling. You're carrying your backpacks, 2 backpacks I carry, a tripod and a camera and all this stuff. Sometimes a boosted board. That it really is such a pain to carry a stabilizer, so I don't right now. Until they make a very small one. I know that they have small ones, but for these heavy cameras, they don't make them small enough. Larry S., I want to send you a new light for your bedroom. Thanks. I'm actually using a white light right now because last time this light was on, it was a terrible glow. So right now I actually have this white softbox light behind me, but I'm still working on the perfect setup for for my room lighting. Have you ever been skydiving? Yes, I have. I have my skydiving license. You should check out my Instagram. That was my last picture today. Oh, yes. Eric L. Do you learn some basic words to communicate with locals in other countries? I definitely do. Before going to a country, it takes like a quick Google how to say please and thank you. And if you learn those words, the locals really appreciate it, and they'll have much more respect for you for trying to learn their language. Luke Munt, deliberate. Whether to get the Mavic Pro or wait for the Mavic 2. That's really my problem right now too. I love the size of the Mavic Pro. I just don't know if I love the quality right now. And since I already have a drone right now, I'm not willing to buy another one. but I love the size of the Mavic so much. It's very hard. It's a very hard decision. It's kind of on your preference. Paige, I have been scuba diving. I do have my license. I got it in Thailand. A great place to go scuba diving. So I'd really like to do some scuba diving, maybe in Japan or the Philippines on this upcoming trip. Hopefully I can do some more because there's some really good diving spots out there. Matt Young, have you ever had to think fast while traveling to get yourself out of trouble? Yes, I have. Sometimes with authorities, speaking different languages. Sometimes, like, there's a lot of times there's like money scams that are really annoying and really stressful. Like this one time, this is a very not stressful one, but it was at the time it just seemed like the stupidest thing. I was in some country with Josh. We go to feed these birds, or there's a bunch of birds, and there's women handing out bags full of bird feed. And one of the women looked like huge, massive, like she looked like a football player. And they gave us these bags of bird food. And we're like, oh, thank you. So we go feed the birds, and after we use like 5 bags of their bird food, which we thought were free, they start to tell us, it costs like a lot of money. Like I don't know what the equivalent was, but it was like $25 to $50. We're like, we're not going to spend that much money on some bird food. And they kept hustling and hustling, and this woman looked like she was about to attack us. And so we gave them like maybe $2 because that's all we had on us. But we just like walked away and left. I know that the bird food wasn't worth that much there, so it's not like we scammed them. We just took their stuff. But there's a lot of times where you got to kind of think and use your brain to get out of some situations. This woman looked like she could beat us up pretty good. She was a big woman. Yanni for life, your vids are awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, woman, thank you. Yeah, Marie Makeup, what's your advice for water in different countries? I've heard it can be hard for your body to adjust. A lot of countries that I go to, they actually don't recommend you to drink the tap water, so you should always buy bottled water. I know in Thailand I did. You're not supposed to drink the tap water because our bodies aren't used to it. So what we did was we bought a bunch of bottled water. We would always have to brush our teeth with bottled water, do everything with bottled water. So it really depends on the country that you go to. I would check it out online. Kyle Drinkwater. We got plans to do a color grading tutorial. I'm really struggling with it at the moment. I actually am going to be doing some editing tutorials soon. I'm going to be doing one on how to color pictures, how I do all my pictures, abandoned pictures, travel pictures. Maybe if you guys want, I'll do a color grading tutorial for coloring video, and maybe editing, depending on what you guys want to see. Sains, have you ever climbed a tall building? I have climbed many tall buildings. My favorite one was the Ghost Tower in Bangkok. It's now closed, but it was an abandoned building, and it was like 55 stories or something like that. Really fun. Are you planning to buy any future equipment? If you're meaning camera equipment, then yes. In maybe a week and a half, I'm going to have a new video with a couple things that I want to talk about for when I travel. I think I might make a travel bag video to show you what I'm traveling with, because it varies. Like if I'm going to just an abandoned place here, I'll carry this stuff. But if I'm traveling for a long extended period of time, I need to travel lighter, I'll carry certain things, so I might make a video on that. Adam Stevens, thank you very much. Cody, love your work, bro. What's the best way to hit up the Exploring Crew to collab and hang with you guys? I'd legit fly out help you anywhere. Adam Stevens Visuals. The best way is probably on Twitter or Instagram. I know I'm meeting up with a guy this week actually who messaged me. I think it was on Twitter. He messaged me, and I'm actually going to meet up with this guy this week. So, can meet up somewhere on there. How tall are you? You seem quite tall in pictures. I'm like 5'11", 6 foot, somewhere in between there. How long has this been going on for? I can't even tell. Oh, yes, Lee. Do you get mosquito bites when traveling? In Hawaii, the first day I got there, I got bitten so many times, like 4 times on my face. I definitely recommend bringing some kind of mosquito repellent, whatever you want to call it, because a lot of times in tropical countries, you will get bitten like crazy. Dream road trip location? I would say probably either Australia or New Zealand. Those have got to be some of the most epic road trips. What are ways to grow on social media? I would say collaborating with a lot of people is a big thing, making new friends. Um, Trying to get, for Instagram, for example, trying to grow on Instagram, there's a lot of pages that promote people. If you send them an image, they'll give you a shout out. That's a really good way to get new followers on Instagram, for example. YouTube is a little bit harder, but collaborating with people. Have you ever been to Antarctica? No, I have not been there, Jimmy German. Uh, I would love to go there, but I hear it's a very expensive trip to get to because there's no direct path to it. I think you have to take like a series of planes to, not ferries, but like huge ships, and going there is just very expensive. I think it might cost like over $10,000 or $15,000 just to get there. So I've heard. I don't know for sure. Favorite TV show? Definitely Game of Thrones. Avery Grace Vlogs. Have you ever been to the UK? I did go to the UK last October, and I had a meetup in London. It was a very big success. That was a great meetup. Abel, planning a trip to LA, gonna drive and everything. Kind of nervous. Any tips? Um, I would definitely recommend going to the PCH, is it? Pacific Coast Highway? Yeah, PCH, because it's the best views. But tips on driving in general, um, try to get food from the healthiest place ever, because you get sick of gas station food real quick. So that's what we did on our road trip. We got so sick of gas station food. Also, if you can, split costs of gas with friends. If you need to, sleep in your car to cut down costs. I've done that a couple times. And, yeah. Will you come to Scotland? Definitely. There's a lot of cool castle-looking places that I need to explore in Scotland. It's just a little cold right now. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought you might not make it out while traveling? Not to the extent where I thought like I was gonna die. There was a lot of times where I've been lost, but never to the point where I was like, oh god, I'm gonna die here. Never that extreme. Dun, dun. Um, Come to Georgia mountains, Tallulah, Georgia. I will. Will you ever come to Jordan? Jordan looks really beautiful. I would love to go there. If you guys are, a lot of you guys are asking if I'll ever come to a country. I will definitely come to this country at some point. I just don't know when Usually these countries I have planned out. Other than this next coming trip, usually the countries come up like a week in advance. Like, there's an opportunity in this country, let's go. Or I'm meeting up with a friend in this country, let's go. This is probably one of this and my last road trip are the only ones that have been planned out a little bit. Why don't you name some of the videos in your? Why don't you just name some of the places in your abandoned videos? That's a good question because we've had this happen multiple times where we will name a place and then go back maybe a year or so later. It's heavily patrolled and completely destroyed. All the windows are broken, and I just don't want. I don't want these places to get destroyed because of us. I don't want us to be the reason that these places are now like under surveillance, completely destroyed, graffitied up, and I don't want it to be because of us. So we try to keep it down, what the names of these places are. But a lot of times it's really easy to find. It's just I don't want to put it blaring out there what the name of this place is. Because, for example, Josh and Steve went to this place that Josh put out 2 years ago. He went back a year ago. It was completely destroyed, and it was from like one of his videos that went over 1 million. Any plans for the rest of your day? I think I'm gonna start making. I'm gonna have dinner, and then I'm gonna start making a kind of trailer for the Exploring Crew Asia. That's I think what I'm gonna do today. New Zealand has some really cool spots. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Hobbiton, for sure. I would love to see Hobbiton and all the spots they shoot. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Is it true with New Zealand that you cannot bring a drone? I think that might be a rule. I don't know for sure, though. Nikki, what's a good lens for the 70D that's good in low light? Ideally, if you want a lens that's good with low light, you want something with a low aperture, like a 1.8, a 1.4, or a 2.8. There's a 16 to 35 that's a 2.8. There's a 50 millimeter you can get that's maybe 1.4. Depends on your budget as well. What time is it here? It's 4:58, so I'm going to be getting off in 2 minutes because it's almost 5 o'clock. Will you ever explore your own house? No, it's way too boring of a video to make. What's your relationship with Sam Evans? He's literally the god of montages. He is. In my opinion, I know you've traveled with him stuff. Sam's just a really good friend of mine who I've been lucky to travel with a little bit in Bali and Hawaii. He's always off shooting some GoPro thing, so I don't get to hang out with him for very long. But he's a great friend, and I love to travel with him some more soon. Do you use a stabilizer for filming? I do not. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of warp stabilizer, but if it starts to look like jello or warpy, and you can tell when it does, I won't use it. What tips do you have for first-time travels to Europe? I have not been to Europe yet, but what I have heard is that there's hostels everywhere, and this is something I'm going to be doing soon, is I'm going to be taking their Eurorail to different countries around Europe and staying in hostels with friends and cutting down costs, but also meeting lots of new friends along the way. The name of my cat is Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand. You can have drones, but they're just laws, I'm pretty sure. Alright, I'll have to look into that some more. I don't know the exact rules, but having a drone in New Zealand would be amazing because you could get all the same shots that they have in Lord of the Rings. Have you experimented with film cameras? Not for filming-wise. I have experimented with film cameras for photos back in high school. It's just a lot of work and a lot of time for something that I can easily get a much better image out of digital. But it's definitely some people's style, not exactly mine. How's Kyle? Have you talked to him recently? Kyle's my brother, and he's in the Marines. And actually, I talk to him like every day almost. My whole family has like a group chat. Have you ever experienced trenches from war? Maybe, I can't remember, on like my abandoned military base island video. I can't remember, but maybe. I know there's probably going to be a lot when I go over to some of those countries out east. Will you ever do a 24-hour video, Cody? That's a good question. I was thinking about doing 24 hours in an abandoned place. I have to find the right place because I don't want to be like sleeping or breathing in asbestos. But I've thought about it. Shane Oben, DSLR or mirrorless? It really is your preference. I have an A7S, which is mirrorless, but I also have a 5D, which is mirror, or DSLR, whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I have both, whatever your preference is. Any run-ins with the paranormal? In some places, in some abandoned places, you might call it that. I don't know specifically. I never look into what place is exactly known for having ghosts, but sometimes, maybe. How old were you when you went to your first abandoned place? GR Streaks. I was 18 or 19. I think I might have said this before, but I was in college. I was in community college, and I needed a location for a short film. So I looked up on Google, cool, like abandoned locations. And that's how I started getting into it. I went to this place, and because I wanted to know what it would look like for when I was writing my script, I started taking pictures and videos, and then I made my first abandoned little montage. And then that's how I found Josh, and that's how I kind of got into the whole thing. I was about 18 or 19. You plan on exploring with the proper people again, Caitlin? Yeah, for sure. Those guys are really cool. How do you plan out your travels? If you haven't seen the beginning of this video, it will be live in about an hour. So I kind of explain how I planned out all the travels. I make a Google Maps. I look at places I'm interested in going to, whatever my interests are, mostly usually abandoned. That's kind of how I plan it out. Oh crap, it's 5 p.m. Alright, I have to get going. I actually have to go out for dinner right now with my family. Thank you guys for joining me again. I appreciate it so much, joining me here on your Sunday and taking the time to watch me. I'm going to try and have another live stream next, I don't know where I'll be, but next Sunday I'm trying to have one. I might be back here, I'm not sure. But there will be some more vlogs this week coming out, and there's going to be a lot more videos. You guys are going to love it, I'm sure, because I have some really cool stuff coming out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week. I have to stay on this because it's a little bit delayed, so I have to keep talking for like a second so it doesn't cut out. Any minute now. Bye, guys.